It's Wes and Ace on the Briscoe and Big Ace Show.
All right, people. Freestyles of your boy Chip from a.k.a. Jungle Rock Jr. beat for the future. Let's go.
It never gets old, that song. I like that every time. It's just bopping along. Man, how's it going?
It's going good, man. Just hanging in there. I guess, it's kind of going crazy right now with this world scare of this corona virus that's going around, and it's definitely not a six-pack, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, it's super crazy. We'll get into that, but I don't know, a few weeks ago it was just kind of like, oh yeah, whatever, coronavirus, ha ha ha, and now it's like, oh wait, this is actually affecting things now. This is actually,
drastically. I mean, not just it literally came from 1 week ago. Everyone's kind of joking, and now it's really serious. I mean, the national tournament, the NCAA, they're canceling everything. I mean, the basketball, the NBA. I mean, it's crazy hearing all these stories. I mean, Tom Hanks.
That's super crazy. Tom Hanks and his wife, in Australia, apparently contacted it and now have it. Again, though, it is super crazy. People are, getting really hyped up over this, but it's things are happening now where it seems more real. The whole, the NBA thing. Did you see, Mark Cuban? And they actually have him courtside last night.
Yeah.
When it broke and he was reading it.
Yeah.
It's what? You see it runs to the team huddle during the game to be like, what? You guys see this? It's crazy. It's super. And it's crazy that the Utah Jazz, that the player actually has it. And they're currently still in the arena, I think, quarantined in the locker room, the Utah Jazz. And I think the other team, I think it was Oklahoma, maybe they were playing that night.
They're in quarantine in the locker rooms?
Maybe they aren't now, but I'm pretty sure they stayed there overnight last night. But I haven't heard if they've left, because the one guy was definitely, or two Utah Jazz players now, I think, have been confirmed to be to have it. I think another one got confirmed today that a player on the Utah Jazz has it. It's so just, man, and I know a lot.
I listened to the Joe Rogan podcast and everything, and he had that scientist on there to try to inform everyone, but they really don't even tell you, how do you even know what are the symptoms? How do you even know if you're sick? I don't understand. That's the thing that I don't get. And I feel like they should tell you, how do you know if you have it or not? I just don't know.
It's very similar to the flu, I guess. It's very flu-like symptoms. So I guess if you're sneezing a lot, sore throat, respiratory stuff, if you're having problems breathing, fever is a really big indicator if you have a persistent fever, I guess. But the thing is it could also be the flu. So that's why they say, stay home, give it a few days, take actual over-the-counter meds. And if it starts to get better, then you can not take them and get better. It was probably just the flu or a cold or something like that. But, if it's something where after a few days it's not breaking, you go in, they're going to test you then for it. Where I live currently, I'm in Rochester, Minnesota. So if anybody doesn't know, first of all, that's what's great about our Waterloo weekend in the Hall of Fame is that's what brought us together. So we do this show pretty much almost, north to south. Wes is in Florida. I'm up in.
Hopefully they don't cancel that.
Huh?
Hopefully they don't cancel that.
Yeah, well, what's crazy is we have the Mayo Clinic here, which is the #1 medical facility in the world.
Mm-hmm.
So I went and pumped gas today after work on my way home, and across the street, the Mayo Clinic's doing a legit drive-in testing for the coronavirus. You can just drive in. If you have the symptoms and you qualify, you drive it in your car, you do it real quick, drive out 5 minutes, and then they'll get back to you with the results.
Wow.
It's super crazy right now. It was I was watching it as I was pumping gas. This is not. Then I'm like, oh god, I'm awfully close to it too. They're just across the street. What if someone in there actually has it?
They were just at that gas pump trying to fill up gas before they drove through.
You know what I mean? It's whoa, man, this is crazy. And then, it is funny too to see so many sporting things getting canceled, and wrestling's the one thing that's been trying to hold on, but we're finally seeing today that it is affecting the world of professional wrestling.
Yeah, like how Ace was saying, like he lives in Minnesota. Of course, I live in Florida, and as living in Florida, Orlando is really close to Tampa. We're probably 80 miles from Tampa, and that's of course where WrestleMania is going to be. And I know Vince has been like really adamant of start having it with crowds, start having people there. And finally, the sheriff came on the local news here in Florida and said that if Vince doesn't shut it down, that they will shut it down.
Yeah,
that's coming from the police. Like I was watching the local news, and to have the local news have the sheriff saying, if WWE is not looking out for their fans, we don't even want it here because they're not taking the proper precautions. I'm guessing. I mean, that's just it was on the news. It's what I mean, of course, you can't always believe what you hear on the news, but the sheriff, he seemed pretty stern, and he seemed pretty like, if it happens, it's just going to be no one there.
Yeah, it's going to be super crazy. Carter route. Hello. I don't know.
Hello, I like the Undertaker. It's kind of scary. I was like, is Taker suddenly like listening? And he's like, no, there's going to be people at my match.
Right. Yeah, Tom Hanks forever. That is true. That is sad. That guy.
Tom Hanks is going to be fine. I mean,
that's the other thing. There is a lot of freak out, but it has a very high percentage rate of surviving, and it being a mild case. There are some severe cases. The other thing too is other places where it's been like China is overpopulated, so of course things spread way quicker over there. Still though, very serious. Like you said, we've had it started with the NBA, MLS, so pro soccer, NHL, pro hockey, MLB, pro baseball have all now postponed.
NCAA too.
NCAA tournaments. Every sport is postponed for NCAA.
My dad was actually supposed to leave today to go to the NCAA wrestling final or the tournament, and he decided not to go.
Yeah, it's super crazy. And again, like we said, wrestling, and like you mentioned of with WWE WrestleMania, who knows? I mean, that's the other thing. It is still a couple weeks away, so who knows? It might calm down by then, but I don't know what's gonna happen. Like you said, it's gonna probably get postponed. You would think it just doesn't sound like this is gonna get to happen.
Either that, or they do it with the empty arena,
which would be really weird for WrestleMania.
Because I've heard that they're doing Raw, SmackDown, and NXT at Full Sail.
The Performance Center, yeah.
Performance Center. See, that means that there will be no crowd.
Right. It will literally be just inside that little workout area. Yeah, so, which we'll get to because you've been there as well. Were you there? And we'll touch on that, but were you there during the switch from FCW to NXT?
No.
Okay. We'll get into that. What's up, Chris? Thanks for joining us. Always a pleasure. Yeah, it's super crazy. Like even things around here, classes are going online. Are they doing that down by you?
Oh yeah, one of my my buddy Danny that I go surfing with. We saw him on the last podcast. Right. His brother is a school teacher at a really nice private school, and when they get back from spring break, they're going to all online classes.
And yeah, and our college in town on spring break, and they've now extended it to kind of try to ride it out. I work in a place where there is a lot of dealing with people with health, caretaking, stuff like that. So where I'm at, we're subject to a lot of stuff, and we're taking precautions at work. It sounds like we're going to actually have to kind of give daily reports of our symptoms, if any. And of course, I'm sure just like every other job around the world, right?
Yeah.
Any signs at all of possibly even just like being kind of sick, stay home. Don't want anybody coming in. Stay home, ride it out. When you're 100%, come back. Even just the slightest notion, if you're not feeling good, should stay home. I have, I'm not too worried. I mean, whatever, if it happens, I'll get quarantined and hopefully feel better. But the thing, like, I have a mom who is diabetic, autoimmune deficiency, and just some other things. So like someone like her getting it could really be a bad thing. So
Yeah, or my dad.
it is a bit nerve-wracking, and being in a city that's a very heavy medical city. It's what really runs the city. It's the business of medicine.
But then again, you are in a good spot because you are in a city that runs medicine. So you got double-edged swords, kind of.
Yeah, and they actually just today came out with a test for this, so you can really like test it. So I mean, they are doing things very quickly already, so that's always cool. Fans singing Jericho's entrance song. Well, okay, we can get into that. I guess it's a good question. Hey Tina, thanks for look at that picture of Hacksaw with Tina.
Yeah.
Oh, anyways, so yeah, it's super crazy times right now. Hopefully everybody's doing their part. Wash your hands. Stay home if you're sick. Use your arm to cover your coughs and stuff like that. The common sense stuff that people should be doing anyways, but it is important now because it definitely feels like we're heading towards a lockdown.
And it's like, we're heading towards the crazy thing is like, do I go to the gym?
Yeah.
Do I start working out? I'm supposed to fly to Puerto Rico on Monday night.
Yeah, dude. It's like things like that.
I'm going.
Yeah, which you should, but I mean, like, like going to like public places like the mall, or like my family has a birthday party at a hotel pool this weekend. It's like, I don't know if I want to go to that. We're staying there from all over, and then a pool on top. Like, if I don't have to, I kind of just want to stay home and ride this all out till it goes away, or at least die down. So it's really crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy. And we'll get off another subject because I'm sure everyone's kind of sick of hearing about it.
It's everywhere. Well, let's get back to this question.
Yes.
Before we dive into the FCW, which, by the way, if anybody hadn't had a chance yet to watch the FCW documentary on the WWE network, check it out. And there's like a really good specific reason why you should check it out if you're watching this show, which we'll get into after we answer this question. And that is, what do you guys think about the fans singing Jericho's entrance song at the AEW shows? We've kind of talked about this, I think, right after I was on the cruise, but it's still kind of going. And the last couple of shows, it's actually kind of picked up momentum. So, Wes, I'm going to let you talk about it, what you feel about this. Because, again, I know we kind of already been over this, but what's your opinion on this?
It's kind of, you have two different ways of looking at it. It's so hard to like explain in a way because it's a good thing, but yet it's bad because he's trying to be a heel. And him being a heel, I mean, do the fans boo him during his matches? Or do they sing the song and then when he wrestles, they start cheer for him? Or do they actually just sing his song and then when he wrestles, they go into actually you're a heel?
No, it's all heel mode for the most part on Inner Circle. They actually do draw some really good heat. It literally is just when he comes out. It's again, like you've said before, he's a heel. You shouldn't sing the heel song. And it was funny because this last week on Dynamite, somebody in the crowd actually had a sign that said, "He's a heel, stop singing." And I was laughing.
No way. That is hilarious. Jim Cornette is probably laughing his ass off.
It was so good. And I've talked about it right after the cruise because I was on the Jericho cruise where this all started from. It all stems from the AEW Dynamite that was recorded on the cruise ship, where when he came out, the whole crowd was singing it. And on that episode, it was very, very noticeable. You couldn't hide the fact the song stopped. The whole boat was still singing it. The thing about that is, and we talked about this, is that it was the Jericho cruise. I mean, it's his name on the frickin' boat.
And it's a good song.
And it's a great song. But again,
it's a good song. So, like, it's kind of hard not to sing along. So you kind of,
It is hard, and it is the hook is catchy, but on the boat, like, we had 3 live shows out of the 4 days with Fozzy. Obviously, when you go on the cruise, Jericho is nothing but amazing to every single fan that he will run into on that cruise ship, which happens because he does just go to the shows and hangs out with the fans watching his friends play music and is having a great time. So, like, it's a special thing on there for him to walk out on like almost the last or the second night on it. And it's like, and a lot of people were back from the first time. And again, just going on it, it's a good close knit feel you have when you're on that boat with everybody. So like, that's why it was like kind of really cool and a special moment. Cause again, his name's on this boat. He put the whole thing together and he really does a lot of time into that trip.
And he did it before he was in AEW.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which was awesome when he brought ROH and Impact together, and even some of New Japan, I think, on that first time around on the boat. But I don't know. It was very cool to be there in the crowd on the cruise when that happened and be a part of that, because it was a special moment, because it was almost like everybody was saying thank you for this amazing vacation, because it is an amazing vacation. And then you see the arenas do it, and it's like some of them get into it, then it doesn't, and then you kind of hear some of it, then they mainly stopped, and all of a sudden the chorus, like someone still say, I don't know, it was weird. Again, he's heel. You know, in the good old days, this wouldn't be happening, but like you said, dude, it's a damn good song on top of that. Like, I'm listening to it when I'm working out at the gym. It is a really just good song. It's a really great song. So, and it fits him. It is him. I don't know. That's the thing about AEW. Anything can go, really. So it's kind of
exactly. I mean, as long as they're still getting heat and as long as they're still getting booed, it's okay if the crowd sings the song.
And that's the thing, is it's Jericho. I mean, he'll still get on the mic and call everybody a stupid ass in the crowd and just call them names right after they were just singing his song. So, I mean, he ain't having any problems with that.
Yeah.
But let's get into the FCW thing.
Okay.
Elimination Chamber. They had this FCW documentary. I'm sure a lot of people checked it out. Honestly, WWE does a pretty good job with their documentaries. They're very interesting from a fan's point of view to watch this, to see the behind the scenes stuff. I don't know what you would think of it watching it, because you've gone through all that. So
when did they actually show it?
What was that?
When did they show it?
So this is it came on Sundays when they debuted it, right after the Elimination Chamber ended.
Okay.
They always debut a new show after a pay-per-view on the network, and this was
okay.
I started it. I finished it on Monday, though. And, you know, watching it, I was like, oh, you know, I remember you being there. I remember us, you know, talking. I remember seeing pictures of you there. I remember watching video of you there. So I was curious, just because I was like, I didn't know if they would talk about you, because I figured they would kind of keep it with whoever's current on roster and stuff like that, because it's a WWE show. Why wouldn't they? It's what they do. But like in the first 20 minutes, I think there was like a spot where it's all you guys in chairs and like a U shape. You don't see him, but it's Dusty giving everybody a speech, and everybody's kind of just sitting on these chairs listening and looking at him. You don't see him though. And that was like the first shot where it's like, oh, there's Wes. Right, they did use something with Wes. There he is. Cool. That's awesome. Because I was like, I wonder if they'll use any footage where we get to see Wes when he was in his FCW days. So it was cool to see that. And then it was like kind of whatever after that. I was like, if they show more, that's going to be awesome. But look, they showed Wes, so we're cool. That's awesome. What's this? We'll get into that. I want to get through FCW, then we'll get to another question. So hang on, Chris. So yeah, and it keeps going, and eventually they start talking about how it all started, how they pulled the team of trainers together, which amazing. That was a dream team of trainers at FCW.
Oh my goodness.
Steve Kern, am I correct?
Steve Kern, Dr. Tom Pritchard, Dusty Rhodes, Norman Smiley. I mean, when we were there, they had no heat, no AC, no nothing. I mean, it was just a couple of dusty rings in a warehouse. Yeah,
and they go into great detail about how hot it was, and just how, like, yeah, it was.
We had to close practice once because the whole pipes and everything froze over. And that's here in Florida.
Now, when did you get to FCW?
What year?
Yeah, when did you first arrive to him?
Let's see. I'm guessing maybe around 2007 or 2006.
Okay.
Thinking.
Did you do 2 stints with FCW?
No, I just got hurt.
Yeah. Okay. So before we get more into your time there and stories, let's get to the point. They do a really nice FCW thing. They get to a point where they talk about second generation wrestlers, which there was a ton of them that went through there. Bray Wyatt, Natty Neidhart. I'm blanking right now. I'm sure you know a bunch more.
Ricky Steamboat,
Right? Yeah. Which they mentioned Ricky Steamboat. It was kind of
Samoan Dynasty.
the Usos, Bo Dallas, Charlotte.
Dakota Darso from Axe and Smash. Brett DiBiase, Ted DiBiase Jr.'s little brother. There was a bunch.
Yeah, also one of my favorites, Mr. Henning.
Me and him had a bunch of good matches.
Yeah, so they go through this thing where they start talking about it, and then they started kind of talking about, not every generation can, they don't all survive. They didn't really say that going into you, but then they kind of brought you up. And which is awesome because the first thing they say is Dr. Tom Pritchard's just like, Wes Briscoe was my favorite, is how they lead into you. And then there's some great shots of you kicking ass. And
I haven't even seen it.
Yeah. And Papa Briscoe's on there, and he talks about you a bit as well. Yeah, and again, they all said that you were you wanted it. That was the cool thing. Dr. Tom Pritchard said is that you can tell Wes wanted it. He was hungry and he wanted it so bad, and it was just an injury got you, and it happened. But and then after they talk about you is when it got really sad, because then they really started talking about Steamboat's kid and how he just couldn't get out of the shadows of his father, and it was a sad deal, kind of, and stuff like that. But man, did they make you look really? They made you look really good. It was awesome. And again,
well, I mean, it's because when I was there, I went through a time where the first 4 months I was doing really bad, and they pulled me into the office and they were like, "Hey, they're going to release you." And I just got signed. I'm like, "What?" They're like, "You're kind of not performing enough effort into it." So as soon as they said that, something just clicked. Something just changed in me. First person I practiced, the last person to leave, asking the coach, "Please, can you stay extra and watch tape with me, or get in the ring with me, or what can I do to improve myself? How can I get better? What do I need to do?" And to be honest with you, one of the craziest things, and this is the honest truth, you know how the Performance Center now has that huge, they hire all these personal trainers to come and coach all the NXT wrestlers how to work out, all the personal trainers that they have, I believe. So at the time, Cena had a personal trainer. His name was Rob.
Okay.
And Cena had his own gym. No one went there. No one worked out there. It's his private owned gym. He has it's a warehouse, and then behind the warehouse, there's 100 cars in a warehouse of all of his collectible cars. So it's a lockdown facility. No one's allowed. And we've heard about how good Cena's trainer was. And for some reason, me, Bo Dallas, I'm a and then of course Husky Harris is what I'm going to call him. Brett DiBiase. We all came up with this idea. They were like, we knew a little bit about working out, but we figured if we could work out with like Cena's trainer, maybe we could somehow just learn some new stuff that we didn't know. So it wasn't just like going to like a LA Fitness and working out. We would have someone actually train us. So they're like, "Well, who's going to ask Cena?" I'm like, "I'll ask him." You got nothing to lose. Like,
right.
We were cool. Like, I got no beef with him. We were, cordial, whatever. So I ran it by my dad. He's like, well, you got to ask him. So I said, okay. Somehow we were at, maybe Raw came into town. We were a bunch of extras. We were just there. And Cena came by, and I pulled Cena to the side, and I was like, hey, me and Brett and Husky Harris and Bo Rotundo, we kind of really would like to work out with you and Rob, or maybe, pay him, or can we work out at your gym? Cena took a second. He looked at us. He's like, you guys serious? And we're like, yeah, we're serious. We want to be better. We want to, we want to look better. We want to learn what you're learning. Obviously, it's working because if you got a personal trainer that's teaching you all the right workouts, the right sets, how many reps to do, all those little things, that really, really matters. And weightlifting, it really matters about how you pyramid your workouts and the reps and the rest and how to properly get to using bands and resisting weights, and just there's a lot of other things to it. And we got the opportunity to go, and we were there for about a month, and it somehow got around the FCW and the main roster that this group of guys are going to Cena's gym, and why isn't everybody else not going there? So when that happened, they had kind of made a mandate and started making people that's when they hired Rob to be the FCW personal trainer. And some of us got kind of a little bit of heat from that. Not going to lie. Some of the boys were like, dude, like we had it good. Like we didn't have to because the gym from FCW was probably a 40-minute drive.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So it was kind of far. So it wasn't like the boys had it was just right across the street. They actually had to go somewhere far. So they were kind of heated about it. And, I was like, well, it's not my fault the office wanted that. We just wanted to get stronger and bigger and learn how to properly work out better. And so that was kind of one of the cool things that I could say that I've actually started, and it became a WWE trend. And now, they got Sean there now, which I actually became really good friends with him when I went to the Performance Center and worked out. And he saw how motivated I was, and he actually was sending me workouts, and we started talking every once in a while. And I'm proud to say that I kind of started that. I started having actual guys because Sean was working for the NFL. I believe he was with the Texans, I believe. I'm not sure which NFL team, but he was their strength and conditioning coach. Okay. So, it's pretty cool to see that I kind of started the evolution of WWE having a full-on personal trainer there for their developmental talent, which is a pretty cool thing.
That's very cool. And the cool thing too, FCW really was basically what they did with NXT, they just took everything that was working from FCW and did that with NXT, and then it seems like they just put way more money into it though. State of the art. But I mean, really what you're seeing that's happening at NXT really was starting at FCW. And even the names, so like you said, Husky Harris, Bo Dallas, DiBiase, who were some of the other names you were down there with? I know for sure
Roman Reigns, the Usos. I mean, of course, you saw it with Sheamus, Drew McIntyre. Pretty much every big name guy that's on the roster, that's who I was hanging out with and wrestling every single night. Me and Wade Barrett used to have to go and hang up posters. I tell people me and Sheamus used to have to sell tickets.
Yeah, so this is talked about in this documentary, actually, is the posters, how horrible it was having to drive, because you guys had to drive an hour and a half, depending on how far that show was.
3 hours?
Up to 3 hours. Post these signs up, which was illegal.
On our day off.
on your day off, which was also like illegal in the towns, like I get Steve would say,
Yeah, it was not cool.
"Oh, I didn't know. Sorry." And that you guys would then have to go back and put him back up or something like that. And he had like a buddy that was like watching you guys if they didn't get put up or if you got thrown out. What was
Or they got thrown in the dumpster?
Yeah, like was it Albert or something like that? Was the guy's name?
Yeah, he was. We're not even going to talk about that guy.
That's the reaction everybody gave about that guy on this FCW documentary, which is hilarious. But yeah, also the other thing too, though, is
he owes me money, so that's the reason why I ain't cool with him. He owes me money. I want that money.
Pay him up.
Yeah, I need like $400.
And then the other thing too that was cool to see is that FCW really did they really treated it like an indie scene as far as you guys did. You postered, you marketed it, you advertised it, you worked the gate, you put the ring up, you tore the ring down, you cleaned the building, you threw the trash out. Like you got
the chairs out,
everything.
Put the chairs out. We ushered people. It didn't matter who you were. You did one of those parking if you had to. You had to do every single job. It didn't matter what your status was and who you were, which I think was a really humbling and a great experience.
Now, I was going to say, did you ever notice anybody, like, anybody ever get sent back down to FCW? I know people did, Kurt Hawkins was a guy who said, like, hey, put me back at FCW so I can do stuff there if you're not going to use me here.
I'm not going to lie, Kurt Hawkins really helped me get to another level of wrestling. That I owe a lot to Kurt Hawkins. I mean, that guy, he didn't really like working with me because he was kind of like, oh, I'm getting stuck with the guy that, a green guy that wasn't, up to par. But at the end, I proved myself to him. So that kind of like, really worked out. And I got nothing but respect for Kurt Hawkins. And he's a hell of a worker. He's one of my favorite people in the ring and such a great wrestler.
Yeah, definitely. But did you ever experience anybody come down to FCW that maybe didn't want to exactly have to come back down and then maybe was like, did you ever have that situation where a talent would come down, kind of maybe feel they were too big for FCW and didn't want to do stuff like that? Or were there any issues? Because you see now in NXT that main roster guys like Finn Balor, they're going back to NXT, but
but it was a different thing,
right? And you hear that they want to and they're enjoying it. So like, did you ever experience that in FCW where like maybe someone got sent back down and it was not what they wanted?
Yeah, it happened a couple of times.
And now, were those people coming in and being expected to have to do the teardown, the setup, all that stuff as well when they get sent back down? Or is it a little different because they were already there and back? Or did they think it would be like that?
Now you're part of the team. If you're there, you got to, unless you're there to like, because sometimes they would send guys down to help promote FCW. Those guys wouldn't have to do anything.
Right.
But the guys that got sent back and had to go to practice every single day and had to actually do everything, you're part of the team. The heels, I believe the baby faces put up the ring, heels take the ring down.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So it was like, you're part of the team. Everyone has a job. Everyone has to pick up a board. Everyone has to pick up a beam. There was a certain way you had to load the trailer. You couldn't just throw it in there. Everything had to be in a specific order. Every board was labeled. Every metal pipe was everything was labeled. You had to do it a certain way.
That's awesome. Because that's, to me, like, I'm not a wrestler, but even if I someday entertain trying to be like a ring announcer or something, because it's stuff I have experienced, like I would want to do that kind of thing because I would want to go through what everybody else would go through just to be a part of that and know what that's like. So it's cool that you get that going into the main stage.
Well, they did it. Let me tell you one of the reasons why they do it. It's so when you do get to the main roster, you respect all the guys that work around you. I'm not saying the wrestlers. You respect the camera guys.
Yeah.
You respect the ring crew. You respect the ticket sales guys because you've done it yourself.
Yeah.
So you understand how hard and how sometimes it could be a shitty job. Right. And so when you learn from that, you treat everybody the same, which you've seen other wrestlers don't do. It's because they didn't know how to do that type of stuff. So they don't understand the respect of putting up, tearing down the ring, selling tickets, putting up chairs, parking cars, doing whatever it took to make the show go on. It didn't. The show was more important than you.
So yeah, and that's an awesome thing, and it was cool to see that even like they even had a camera guy on the documentary talking about even like I asked to get sent to FCW to work on I was a camera guy and they wanted me
I believe, is that Marty?
I can't remember his name. It could
Black hair.
I honestly don't remember.
Now he runs it. He runs the whole production of WWE now.
So it probably is him because he said he was started as a camera guy. They wanted.
I love working with Marty, and I'm pretty sure it's Marty. He's a great dude.
Awesome.
Great dude.
Yeah, so but it's awesome to see that was really like a place for anybody to go train their skills, because they did some cool TV shows. That's one thing I remember about FCW is I really enjoyed watching the TV that you guys were doing.
We had Dusty Rhodes. I mean, come on, baby. We had the American Dream, baby. Jucking and jiving all over the place. So I mean, the craziest days were Wednesdays, because Wednesdays were promo days. And you got to think, you're going up there and there's a room of 60 dudes that some of them can talk, some of them can't, some of them are scared. And then, of course, you got the American Dream there sitting there and go, okay, baby, show me what you got. We got 1 minute. And boy, if you messed anything up or you went over or went under, he would get on me a little bit because sometimes I would go under on promos, which now I go way over.
Yeah, now you.
But before I used to be like, okay, to make sure I just get it out there and be like, okay, that's good, And he'd be like, you're wasting time, baby. You're wasting time. I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, you got a beautiful face. You got to keep it out there. Keep talking, So it was awesome having him there. And we got to listen to some of the greatest promos. I mean,
that's what I was going to ask you, because they talk about the promo class on this documentary pretty heavily, and they show a lot of.
It was intense.
Yeah, and they show a lot of.
It was intense of who you wanted to line up. Like, it would you would be sitting there and no one could just when the class started, it was there was a microphone. They would be 9:00. Dusty sat in the room and there'd be a microphone in the middle of the thing, and someone just had to get up and go. And there was no wasting time. There was no just sitting there. So either you went on first and then everyone started going. So then you had to get in a line. And where do you want to go? Who do you want to go behind? Oh shit, that dude's promo was really good. I'm gonna step back, redo my promo, come up with something a little bit better, let another guy go and sneak in behind the guy that maybe didn't have a stronger one, and then come out there and be like, what's
right.
So that's what me and Xavier Woods we were killing it.
Yeah, so if anybody doesn't know, one big thing that happened for you at FCW was you and Xavier Woods became FCW Tag Champs, and that was shared
ovation. And one of the coolest things in the world is when we walked back in the locker room, every talent was standing there clapping. I'm talking about Sheamus. I'm talking about Roman Reigns. I'm talking about Drew McIntyre. I'm talking about every superstar that's you could think of. Daniel Bryan, everybody was there. And when we walked through there, they stood up and they clapped and they were like, you guys deserve it. And that was a moment that just having your peers and everybody just genuine, because they watched the match. They sat there and watched the whole entire thing, and to have them all line up, and when you walk through the curtain, they're all clapping. It's just
Now, who was that match against? Do you remember?
It was actually I think it was a 4-way. Fandango and EC3.
Oh wow!
Versus Brodus Clay.
Nice.
Which is Tyrese, 6'9", well over 300 pounds, and his partner Andrew Jackson, which was 7'2", 340 pounds with a 6-pack.
Wow. Holy crap.
Yeah, and I hit my finishing move. I used to do a corkscrew crossbody off the top rope, and I hit it on EC3 and got the 1, 2, 3, and me and Xavier Woods became tag team champions.
That's awesome. And you showed me a very cool picture of that night where Papa Briscoe was even there and came out.
Yeah, the funny thing was he wasn't even going to come out. And Dusty, he was sitting back because my dad would go and sit back and sit with Dusty in the production room. And Dusty's looking at me, he's like, go share that with your boys. Go. And so he ran out there and gave us a big hug. And the funniest thing is, one thing I like, my dad's done TV forever, but I knew like they did a hands up shot, but we were kind of separate. And I saw Marty and I turned and I was like, Dad, no, you got to turn this way. And I'm like, camera shot. And he was like, when we went back, he was like, I was so proud of you that you like knew that we had to get the glorious shot on the camera. You taught me well. Like, so I learned so much there. And I mean, I know we're talking a lot about this, but
you know what? This is going to be our FCW episode. We're not going to talk about this probably ever again. So let's get it all out now.
Yeah.
Thing came out, might as well.
So one of the times is like when I was struggling a little bit, I became really close with Norman Smiley, like really close. Where one day I was like, man, Norman, I love this. I have a passion. So I don't want to just do it because of my last name. I honor my last name. I want this because I want it for me. I was like, can you help me? Can you show me some stuff? Can you give me some tapes? And then he looked at me and he goes, all right, when practice is over, come back. So every day for like 2 months, I would stay an hour after practice, and me and him would just do one-on-ones.
Nice. And
then he would give me tape and tell me to study this match, watch this stuff. He's the one that turned me on to the English style of wrestling, which I like Jim Breaks and who's the other one of my Johnny Saint. Oh my God, I got the privilege when I was at the Performance Center to actually get to wrestle Johnny Saint. And all the other performance guys didn't know who he was, and they kind of left. And Johnny's just sitting around. I'm like, hey, Johnny, you want to get in the ring? He's like, yeah. And I got to like do a one-on-one session with Johnny Saint. I'm not even signed. I'm just there trying to like say like, hey, if you guys want to sign me, that's cool. But I'm taking advantage of every single person I see because I know his knowledge. Because Norman Smiley said Johnny Saint is the man. So when I saw that and I was watching his matches and I get to meet him in person, of course, I'm going to be like, can we get in the ring together? And he taught me so much cool stuff. Oh, what a great guy. Johnny Saint is awesome.
And that's what's cool about now with the way they're coming up, that the talent now is you're seeing legends that will show up and do these, have a chance to work out.
But the talent does not always take up the opportunity. I mean, it was sad seeing Johnny Saint sit there and nobody, after kind of practice, no one came up and talked to him. He like kind of did his thing and sat down, and then like no one else came up to him or like, and I was like, I'm gonna go up to him and see what, like, if he wants to wrestle. Of course, he was like, yeah, that's what I'm here for.
Right. That's so cool. So real quick, let's touch back on the promo class. I just want to know who stands out? Who did you watch cut promos there that you just are like, I will always remember that one in these promo classes?
Husky Harris.
Man, again, you're saying a lot of the same stuff that everybody in this documentary said.
Woo! He would have some promos that would just rock the place. I mean, he's a funny character. I'm gonna tell you some funny stories about him because he's my brother and I can. He was the king of getting out of blow-up drills. I don't know how he did it. Of course, none of us are gonna rat him out because he's our boy.
Right.
But for some reason, every time we went to go do these blow up drills, he was always gone. We'd look around and then he's like, where did Wyndham go?
Right.
I don't see Wyndham nowhere. Sorry, guys. That's just how I know Bray as Wyndham or the Fein or whatever. I call him Wyndham. That's just, I've known him since we were like 10 years old. So we go way back. But he would always get out blow-up drills. And then it was funny. One day my dad's at practice, and I was telling my dad this, like just joking around. And my dad saw him like sneak out. He was like, damn. He is good at sneaking out of blow-up drills. I was like, Dad, I told you. He was always like, it was just funny. Like, none of us hated on him because, like, it was just funny, you know? It was just, it was a good thing. But he did really good promos. There was a guy there called Abraham Washington, and he did some really good promos.
If I'm correct, is he not the guy who actually did make it to the main roster as a manager for like a hot minute, and he made some off-color comment about Kobe on a mic at a Raw, and he was I do.
Yes.
Yep. I remember
very good on the mic. He had some really good promos. I mean, pretty much, I'm not gonna lie. If you didn't have a good promo, you pretty much were gonna get released. I mean, Dusty would make it seem like if you didn't go out there and give good promos, you would get released. I mean, you had to go out there and do exactly what he said, give him the time, give him what he wanted.
Well, and it's an art too, and that's you guys are telling the story. We're past the days of just putting two guys in the ring and like, all right, go at it. Like there's storytelling to this to, you know, make it that full circle match and storyline and whatever you're doing or whoever you're working with. So it is a huge key, and it's very cool. Were you around with Heath Slater? Was there?
You didn't remember the funny? Did I never tell the Heath story joke on this podcast?
I don't remember if you have or not. There is a story. I just don't remember Heath.
The only picture I saw was me sitting right next to Heath Slater.
Oh,
Heath Slater is one of my best friends.
The reason I ask is because it seems like he was like probably one of the more entertaining guys. If you were at FCW, he was there watching him talk about it and just telling stories and just seeing how he is. I can't not laugh whenever he's just around.
Oh man, it was awesome.
Yeah. So did you do any of the shows that they did at this little bar? They talked about the specific bar that y'all did these bar shows at. You got any good stories from those? Any memories?
I remember a fight breaking out inside during one of the matches.
Like while you guys were doing a show.
Yeah.
Like,
and the crazy thing is people could smoke cigarettes in there and drink
and again,
it was
early.
It was a wild scene.
Yeah, this is what 2000. You said 2006, 7.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, I guess you're still smoking in bars at that time. Which at that time I started DJing at bars, so I definitely like.
Well, in Florida it's different. You can smoke it. Like you can start smoking bars here in certain bars.
Oh, really? Wow, yeah. Crazy. That's something that you don't see everywhere. So, man, that's super crazy. So now let's transition into how FCW eventually does shut down. And a lot of the good things from that ended up going to NXT. Really, like it sounded like Steve Keirn was one of the only things that didn't really move from FCW to NXT. Now, you have been to the Performance Center. You were at FCW when it was there, and then you were at the Performance Center. You've been at the high, state of the art thing. You've been around all the talent. Now, when were you at the Performance Center? What year was that? You remember?
3 years ago?
3?
Yeah.
Yeah. So now, when you were there, you were rehabbing, or were you working out? Or was it travel?
They actually had something for me. So they brought me down. They just threw me in the advanced practice class. So I was just in the advanced practice class. I did a couple of matches with Velvet Dream.
Nice.
Alex Black was there. Did some matches with him. Dawson, and a couple other guys. And it went really well, and it was a great experience. I mean, the Performance Center is a dream.
That's what I want to hear. I want to hear these comparisons from when you were doing drills at FCW, dying in a garage or whatever warehouse. What it's like now, where these new talent are coming in.
It was night and day. I mean, I'm talking about dusty floors, one microwave to try to cook food, and if it got messy, Steve Kern would take it away from everybody. Yeah, we're talking about 2 rings and then 1 main ring, but no one really went to the main ring unless it was like, because that was where the show was set up, so like no one really wanted to mess up that. But we had 2 other rings, and then eventually we got a 3rd one.
Oh wow!
Yeah, but that was towards the end. But it was just a warehouse full of chairs. I mean, it was crazy. It was nothing to it.
That's awesome. That's it was, like I said, it was a cool documentary to watch, because I remember kind of watching FCW stuff online.
We cleaned the bathrooms ourselves.
Oh man,
we cleaned the whole building ourselves.
And
so we mopped the floors. After a show, certain guys would get signed, and we would have to mop the floors. We would have to wipe down the toilets, clean up everything. No, I'm dead serious.
Yeah.
Sometimes I wiped up after the crowd went and wiped up the toilets.
Now, if anybody's watching and they're like, well, yeah, but FCW was this stomping grounds for the talent, developmental talent that's going to be WWE talent. In this documentary, it talks about how Steve Kern owned FCW. Like, he was given the tools, but he still owned and was using his own money. WWE wasn't pumping money into the facilities, into
not at all.
into anything. They were just exclusively giving the talent and then taking them when they were ready.
Yep.
So you get to see that in the documentary where Steve talks about, like, yeah, we did everything. Like, my family sold the hot dogs. Like, that's how.
They fully did the hot dogs, and you had to buy them yourself if you're a wrestler. They were giving those hot dogs away for free.
He's like, I want that money. Man, that's it was a really cool documentary. It's always.
I've been at good sessions before.
Did you?
Yeah, done it all, brother.
That's great. And I guess the place is a bounce house now. Like, they got all those inflatable bouncy houses for kids.
See, that's when, we kind of shout back to the Sandman incident. I respect every legend because I've been there. I've done it all. I set up tables. I sold tickets. I've done everything in the wrestling business. So you know what? When I see a guy disrespecting other wrestlers that's a legend, I feel that I have enough clout, that I've earned enough respect, that I've paid my dues to when I see a vet acting the wrong way, being disrespectful, I'm going to say how it is. Mm-hmm. That's just because I grew up where we had to do everything.
Yeah.
I'm sure saying, man, I don't know if he sold tickets. I never know if he set up the ring. I never know if he set up every single chair and had to count every single chair, sold tickets, parked cars, did security, sold hot dogs. Why you were still under contract and you couldn't be like, well, I'm Mr. No. If you were like that, you're out.
No. Yeah.
So we grew up, our class grew up with a different type of respect.
Yeah.
And that's something that I'm the only thing that the Performance Center is lacking. And I hate to say that, but in my eyes, here's the thing is when someone new came in, like let's say Low Key came in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The whole room's full. He comes in, he introduces himself. There's no chairs available. I get up and I give him my chair. And he looks at me, and I'm like, no, I know who you are. I respect you. And then I went, found another chair, went back. I mean, it was his first day. I don't want him walking around looking for a chair. He's a little kid, like just respect, because that's how I was raised. When I did that, he went up to Dr. Tom, and then he goes, I want to wrestle Wes every single day. So I got to wrestle Low Key so many times, and I got to learn so much just because he saw my passion. He saw my respect that I had towards him. which, a lot of guys are losing it because a lot of guys just get signed and they get thrown in and they don't have to tear down the ring. They don't have to sell tickets. They don't know what it's like setting up chairs, what it is to go out on your day off and go hang up posters all day long. You're hanging up posters on your day off. We got one day off, guys. I'm not talking like you guys think, oh man, I bet you they had Friday, Saturday. No, we did a show in Miami on Friday, and then Saturday we did a show in Jacksonville. If you guys don't do the math, that's like probably a 5-hour drive.
Right.
So, we're constantly, and then on our day off, or if we had to, we would go do practice. After practice, go straight to go poster things all day and then show up to the show.
Yeah, it sounded like it was quite the grind, and it is interesting that you mentioned that now with the like the Performance Center NXT. I feel now you can tell the signings that are coming from more of a a sports background or just you can tell who the guys are they're signing that are from the independent scene, and the guys who are just maybe an MMA guy, now they're bringing him in to do wrestling, because you can see the indie guys come in, they're more hungry, they know about it, they've been through everything, the road, going up and down, setting up and down, working 20 people shows, and then you got guys who are maybe coming into that they're not used to that, they're used to working in like a football stadium, they already have this built-in crowd, they're pumped, whatever, so like now actually having to perform in front of just a few people and hearing the combats, and it's different.
And speaking too on FCW, what actually made it way different than everyone else is that our coaches were the coaches of the ages of, you're going over your match too long. So guess what? Finally, they were over it. We would do random matches where we didn't know who we were going to wrestle. The referee would come and say, Wes, you're up. They point at so-and-so, you guys are up. We'll tell you the finish in the ring. Go.
Okay.
I mean, these things would happen at small shows. Shows with 50, 60 people. I mean, certainly, there's 50, 60 people, but there won't be like 100 or 200 or 300 people, because sometimes we would draw pretty good, but it'd be some town in the middle of nowhere, but yet it really teaches you how to learn how to wrestle in front of a crowd and learn how to act to react and stuff like that, instead of just having a sheet of saying, oh, I'm doing this and this and this, and going out there and doing it, and it doesn't get over because you're not able to work with your partner, you're not able to hear what's going on with the crowd, you're not able to just take your time and just listen and sell, and and that's the little things that are missing. And I love the way wrestling's going, and I support wrestling in every movement and direction it goes, but it comes to a point where you still got to slow it down a little bit, put the moves over, make it mean something, put that drama, because when we fell in love with the wrestling, and I know with you, it's the same thing with me, it's like watching a good movie.
Yeah.
You have a little bit of drama. You got to see this. You got to see the superhero fall down a little bit. You got to see it. It's like kind of like that movie with Will Smith, and he's the Hancock.
Oh yeah, where he's like the bad hero.
In the movie, you're behind him.
Yeah.
But they don't show any type of weakness or any vulnerability. How do you relate with the regular people? So how do you get the people to want to cheer for you and relate with you? And that's something that, I love the art form of wrestling. And sometimes I feel like the guys are kind of missing it because they don't look at it like that. They look at it like, who can do the coolest move?
Yeah.
And for me, I love the moves, and I believe it's fully athletics. And sometimes I do make my opinion, and it is my opinion. I don't hate on anybody. I don't say I don't like it, but sometimes it looks like a dance. Sometimes it looks like they don't even touch each other, just running around for no reason. If I ran the ropes 4 times and the guy didn't hit me once, why in the hell am I running these ropes? I'll be blown up. I'll be like, what am I doing? Like, eventually I'm going to stop and go,
right.
Like, what am I doing? Like, come on now. Like, this don't make sense, Like,
that's
I love this art of storytelling in wrestling.
Yeah.
And there's guys in AEW like MJF. Oh my God, I'm his biggest fan. I think he is just
So
he's awesome.
yeah.
And just like like I love that type of stuff because he's truly loves wrestling from the fullest. I mean, you can tell by just the way he conducts himself that he watched old school wrestling. He really liked it. He really wants to tell a story, and he's telling a great story, and he's painting that picture where it's getting over more than the Young Bucks. It's getting over more than Kenny Omega. The guys that do 100 moves, it's getting way more over. MJF is on TMZ. He's on all these things, and MJF don't do nothing crazy.
Yeah.
He can when the moment's right, and that's why I love him. He can do all those moves, but he picks and chooses when he wants to do them, and he does it in a fashion where he's going to get booed instead of
and then the opposite to him on who's doing that same thing, but in a babyface way for AEW is Orange Cassidy. Because he can do all that and he chooses when to do it, and he is about as over as anybody can be right now for them. And I like it. I like the comedy element to it. But when you brought MJF up, that brought me to something that I think we should be doing in shows from here on out. Because we did it last time on the episode, and I thought it went really well. And that is, I think we should end the show with me just doing like 4 or 5 just quick questions about something in the wrestling world to get your opinion. And that's how we'll start going out on these shows, because I think it was a fun little segment we did. So first of all, you did say MJF. I want to get into that, but Tina wants to know if we're going to the Vegas for the Cauliflower Alley Club. I'm not. Wes, are you?
Depends on the coronavirus.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Yeah,
I don't go to, especially Vegas. Ugh, that place is dirty.
Yeah, definitely is. So
yeah, I do love me some Vegas, but plus I'm kind of like, I got me a woman, so me in Vegas is unless she's there, I don't think I'm going.
Right. Yeah. So let's get into this. First question. MJF, a lot of controversy going on online the last week or two. He flipped off a child during a signing. The father got mad, did some tweets. Cody had to do damage control to give the guy free tickets, a VIP experience. Every wrestling fan you basically talk to is like, dude, you're blowing this out of proportion. What did you expect? What is your take on this? He went true heel, played his character, flipped a little kid off in his picture, and it just caused an uproar.
I think that's awesome. I wish I could do that. Even when I was in Aces and Eights and like true like heel,
yeah,
Wooly and everyone else was doing stuff like that. So he's not the first dude. I've seen Bully do some stuff that you would never ever do to a fan, and I've seen him spit in dudes' face. I've seen some crazy stuff, and we'll go over it.
I've talked to Bully at things, and he's been very short with me before, just because I'm just some crazy fan guy, and it was like, hey man, I just wanted to say hi. Yeah, like
so. It.
To be honest, what was actually funny is I had way back when you guys were doing Impact. This is before Aces and Eights, when they were just doing the Dudleys, the gimmick there. They came to town where I live. They came to my bar afterwards for their after party. Yeah, because we sponsored it. I ended up, I'm the wrestling guy and I'm the main DJ at the bar. So I end up being the guy that's like, you cater to them, make sure they're happy from the owner. I started taking pictures of them for our website. And I was being like, hey, I'm with the bar. Can I take a picture? And I was going to take one, and Bully didn't hear me. Devon heard me. It was like, yeah, man, that's cool. Bully didn't hear me. He's like, what are you doing? And Devon's like, no, he's with the bar. Oh, okay. It's okay. And I was just like, sorry, man.
Like some people can be this like me. I'm not going to get you wrong. I'm not a person you want to mess with, but I'm genuinely a nice person.
Right. So
it's kind of hard for me to like, I can't really flick off a little kid. Like, no, I don't know. It's just like, yeah, like
you want to high five them. You don't want to flip them off.
Yeah. Like for me, it's like, it's so hard for like I like being heel, but it's, in the other hand, it's like I can be heel in the match, but I can't be heel outside because I treat people with respect, and that's how my dad raised me. So even I believe after the show, I'm done. Work's over with, and I can't I can't treat nobody but with respect. I don't care who you are. I treat you with respect. I want you to treat me how I will treat you. And, it's just all about respect for me. So it's kind of hard. Like, and I love it. Like, I think that's cool. If I could do it, I would do it. But for me, I just could never flick off a little kid. Like, I mean,
I feel you. It's cool because he's dedicated, but it is like, man, I don't know if I could do it, but
that's him, though. That's
yeah,
really him, though.
yeah. So
Yeah.
next question, moving on. We'll stick with the AEW topic. AEW now also has Jake the Snake Roberts as a manager and an on-screen role. How do you what's your opinions on Jake the Snake making it back to network television wrestling?
First of all, what was that with that haircut?
Right? I thought the same damn thing. I saw was and before I don't want anyone to be like I'm shitting on Jake Roberts because here's the deal, I'm not. He was in town last summer. I ran sound for his comedy show. Very lovely guy. We hit it off. He was super awesome.
Bro, that fade.
What was that shaved the side all about? That was super weird.
One side.
Like it was
one side. Hey.
Whatever. I thought he gave a great promo. Jake always has a great way.
Jake's one of the best promo people in the world.
So overall, good to see him back on TV then.
Yeah. I mean, as long as he stays sober and doesn't go in and hurt AEW.
Right.
That's the thing. It's like I love Jake and I love everyone they bring in, but as long as they don't hurt AEW, because AEW is giving wrestlers another job, another opportunity, another place to be able to be their own artist, be able to be their own painter and have a canvas and be able to actually do what they want to do. So as long as he doesn't bring down, and I love Jake. I've watched, he was one of my biggest fans. I've watched every single of his matches. I listen to all of his promos. I love his psychology of wrestling. He is a great man, but like with everyone, we all have our demons. Mm-hmm. And as long as he can keep those demons at bay and do it for the greater good, I'm all about it. Put him on TV as much as you can. Do it.
Yeah, and it's cool about him is he's very, very aware that they could always come back. That was the one thing talking with him a year ago. Like we went outside and had a smoke together, and it was just him and I. And he kind of brought some of that up and said, he's like, to this day, I don't think he's driven a car. At least last summer when I was hanging out, he said, I haven't driven a car in 10 years because I'm afraid where I'll go if I get behind a wheel by myself.
Good.
So he's definitely aware. So that was very cool. Next thing, coronavirus causing all kinds of stuff. We're seeing it hit the wrestling world. AEW is pushing shows back. The blood and guts might not happen, might happen, who knows. WWE hasn't officially canceled WrestleMania. We don't know where that's going to go, but what has happened is, again, SmackDown this week for sure.
Well, no. What has happened too, don't forget that the sheriff came on.
Yes.
This is in Florida. The sheriff, like the big sheriff, not like like the main sheriff that represents all the cops, like the main guy in charge, says that if they don't do something, they will.
Right. So something's going to happen. We're going to hear if not tomorrow, I don't know if
tomorrow you will or nothing will. If you don't hear nothing tomorrow, then they're not running. Like the virus is done or something. But from what I heard is that if he doesn't publicly say that there won't be no fans there, the police will shut it down.
And that's an interesting thing. Does Vince do a show? Does he do a WrestleMania show? Not just a show, a WrestleMania show. Would he do it with 0 fans? Or would he rather push it out 2 months and then he would do it, you think?
Yep.
Okay. My question, though, you've been in the Performance Center. You've been there. You've seen how it goes. How do you think it's going to be for a Friday night SmackDown. Like, how is that going to come off on TV? You think it will go well? Do you think it's going to be awkward? It'll be good.
Perfect. I mean, that facility is state of the art. I mean, they got a whole upstairs with a kitchen, lazy boys with every single wrestling you could, like lazy boys with like, they got their own personal private desk with screens where if you wanted to go out by yourself and sit in a nice comfortable chair and have your own screen and watch any match you could ever think of. I mean, they have a full-on kitchen, shower. I mean, it is plush. I mean, this place is like, I'd be like, hey, can I live up in the back? Like, what's up? You know?
Right.
Yeah, it is beautiful. I mean, state of the art. I mean, it'll look great.
Nice. Next question. We got 2 more and we're going to wrap it up. Next one. Does John Cena retire after his match with the Fiend Bray Wyatt? It's being talked about. He said, I guess he's maybe made some comments, but there's a lot of talk that this will be John Cena's retirement match.
First thought or second thought?
Well, let's go with first and then your second thought.
He's done.
Yeah. I agree. When you're making good money being a big movie star.
He never really, and he too never really, he did like wrestling, but yes, he was the hardest working guy there because he had bigger dreams to go to somewhere else. And he's always said that. Mm-hmm. His dream was always Hollywood.
Yeah. And, when you're good at something like that, The Rock is another good example. Do you want to risk hurting yourself in a ring and then causing months of production delays and stuff because you got hurt in a match? It is a big thing you have to ask yourself when you're in his position. So last question.
And well, first, can we finish it up?
Yeah. Second thought.
Well, money.
Yeah.
Pay off money. I mean, you're talking about doing a movie and you're getting paid, he might be getting paid $20-30 million.
Right. Yeah. And he's getting starring roles now too. He's starting.
Okay. Let's say that. I'm gonna be dead ass honest with this. All the fans here. Cena probably makes $1 million guaranteed. That's just one a year. And then he probably gets a couple little bonus and then his merch.
Yeah.
So he maybe makes 2.5 a year and he's on the road 360 days a week, where he could do a movie film for less than a month and make $20 million and not do nothing.
Right.
What?
It's business. I mean, health too. You're giving your body longevity by doing that instead of keep going. So I agree, my friend. Last question. Big signing happened with WWE yesterday. Not a lot of talk about it just because of the coronavirus that I feel like it kind of got passed up, but
I already know who you're talking about.
Rob Gronkowski, formerly of the New England Patriots, has inked a deal with WWE.
Is it final though?
From what
I heard it wasn't. Yesterday I heard it wasn't.
Last I heard, it was not only final, it sounds like he's debuting Friday night on SmackDown. That was what I heard.
Hopefully as an announcer.
I don't know. I really don't know.
Because
I think he's signed for sure. I don't know if we'll see him on Friday. If they're hoping in ring talent, man, unless he's been secretly training, I don't know if he.
They do that.
And I know they do, but I mean, I don't know. He had his little one stint at WrestleMania 31, I believe it was, where he came in. And
I wish they would. I wish they would post what he makes and how many shows he has to go to.
Yeah, they're not.
Because one thing in his contract I know is that he wasn't going to do a full schedule.
Oh, no, not at all. Not at all. And hopefully he doesn't end up being like Cain Velasquez, where they sign him to a contract. He makes like one match and now we've never seen him again.
And then I have a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about something like Rob taking all the talent away from a guy like Aleister Black, where he should be up in the main picture, or a guy like Murphy, or some of the guys that are finally proving themselves to get to that main spot? Do you think they're going to get pushed down because of Rob, or do you think they'll start elevating him? I want to hear your opinion on that.
It depends. If they bring Gronk in and they go through, which they won't because of the name and the notoriety, but if they did it right and brought him through NXT for like 6 months and then brought him up, cool. All right. Because then you made him at least get trained right. If we bring him straight to main roster and he's on TV, yeah, that's a harder pill to swallow because then it is great talent like Finn Balor and Tyler Breeze not getting anything that Adam Cole. And the thing with Adam Cole is, yeah, he should be up by now. Like he should be.
So why, like, yes, I know it's his name and maybe they're trying to bring more viewers, but why don't you just invest that money into doing badass vignettes and building these guys and putting some money behind these guys and actually really trying to make these guys how they, you remember, I used to love WWF when they did vignettes. I love vignettes. I used to watch every single one. That's where you got to learn. They would do these crazy vignettes way off to do what, like, you remember how they brought in Razor Ramon when he was in Miami at the beach? With the flowers. I mean, you know, Skinner coming out with the knife out. I mean, there were so good vignettes.
Robert Shango scared the shit out of me as a kid. Showing his voodoo curses backstage, like hell no, that's good. And then like the snake, all that stuff, man. The vignette, dude. Taker was the vignette king. Those promos he'd cut in the graveyard, digging the hole while Paul Bear is out standing by the. I
mean, it's just those little things like that that just, you know, really made those characters, really made those people. And, you know, I feel like they really need I mean, this is just my opinion. And I feel like for WWE is doing great. I mean, they always will. But they don't have a mega star. I mean, you guys can probably, half the people listening can agree with me that they don't have a Rock. They don't have a hot Cena, how Cena used to be.
No, they never replaced
Stone Cold. They don't have Eddie Guerrero. They don't have, I mean, they do have Brock, but they don't have that young Jeff Hardy. You know what I mean? They don't have these larger than life characters that they help build up and let them win matches and, you know, not just get squashed by these old timers all the time and not just win a match, lose a match, win a match. They built these guys up and made them something special to watch.
You know, and that's why with like Mania, I'm pumped for Randy Orton and Edge, and it's going to be an epic match, and they're doing a really good job telling that story. But I can't help but also be like, man, that's two good spots where like I would have loved to see Randy Orton and Aleister Black build a feud into Mania, and that
Ricochet versus AJ Styles.
Yeah. You know, which they teased and didn't even do, you know, and then I don't even know, to be honest, Adam Cole should have made his debut and then feuded with Edge, and that should have been the Mania match. Like that would have been
Adam Cole and Aleister Black. I mean, there's so many good young talent out there that could just steal the show.
Yeah, man, it is an interesting thing. I want to see what happens. I feel kind of bad for Mojo Rawley and all this because I feel like it's like, hey, can we sign your best friend even though we don't use you? And you're going to just push you further in the background now too. Poor guy.
Might be a reason for
that, right? So yeah, I don't know, man. We did a lot tonight. Coronavirus, FCW. We did some questions. Thank you to the people who were hanging out. We had a lot. Carter, Tina, Chris,
Greg,
all you guys. Oh yeah, it was a good night. Say safe. Well, first of all, what do you got coming for shows, Wes? I know you got Puerto Rico next week. Do you have anything when you get back?
I think everyone's canceling every indie show.
Are they right now?
The only indie shows that I had were ones for WrestleMania. And if they're not gonna do that, I don't know.
I'll tell you what, and it's going to have something with Mania is going to have to happen. I did read today that the convention center for Access, someone that works there tested positive. So that convention center is shut down. So like Access is not happening.
They shut down Disney World.
Yeah. Starting tomorrow.
I've never seen that ever in my life.
Mm-hmm. Darn right. I'm always up for food and
Dude, the Thai food last time we went, oh my god! I want to go. I gotta go this week. I think I'm gonna go tomorrow. You better call the family and say Wes is coming to get some Thai food tomorrow. Heath Thai, one of the best restaurants in Orlando, off of East Colonial Drive, Highway 50, right by the Florida Mall.
Hell yeah, you tell them. Yeah, man. So watch Wes then, I guess, for whatever is upcoming. I guess you'll keep everybody up to date as far as any cancellations of anything you got going down the road if they do get canceled. Everybody be safe, keep clean. Just listen to whatever they say. If they tell you to stay home, stay home. Let's not spread this any more than it needs to be. Tuesday night, you can catch me on YouTube with the Masked Comedian Xcast, where we just mark out extremely hard, and it's awful. So watch us. It's the worst promo for a show I'm involved with ever. Anyways. Yeah, man. Otherwise, Wes, you will be in Puerto Rico. We've talked about trying to do a show while you're out there.
We will.
So we'll be back next week with another episode. I can't say every week, but follow us on Twitter at Briscoe and Big A Show, Briscoe and Big A Show on YouTube. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Also on Facebook, Briscoe and Big A Show. And on Facebook, Twitter, and of course, if you subscribe and click the alert button on YouTube, you will know when we go live with our next episode. We do it guerrilla style, so you gotta.
And I will be putting on a bunch of video vlogs. Like, I'm gonna really start hammering those out. I'm gonna start doing a lot more of on my way to the indie matches, and kind of like the whole document of me getting ready for a show before I leave the house and stuff like that. Stuff that maybe you guys haven't seen, that maybe I can share with you a different, outlook on pro wrestling. And, it's just something new that I've always want to work on. I just slowly been doing it, but we're definitely going to get a lot more content out here and not just be doing the podcast and more video vlogs and stuff like that. And hopefully, we'll be able to do the Hall of Fame, and we'll have a bunch of live interviews, and of course we'll video vlog that one. And, we got a bunch of good stuff coming up. And like Big A says, we're bootleg. We do this because we're best friends and we enjoy talking about the subject, and we enjoy sharing our comments with you guys, and we have fun with it. And that's the reason why we do it guerrilla style. We do it whenever we want, because we're not doing it to make money. We're not doing it to get famous. We're doing it just to maybe lighten some people's day, maybe, help your drive a little bit easier, help your day at work go by a little bit faster, and, just kind of share some of me and Big Ace's thoughts of wrestling, life, and the whole entire world.
That's right. Yeah. And you can catch it all here on the YouTube channel, Briscoe and Big A Show. So keep watching that. You mentioned the Hall of Fame just real quick. I know it's so far away, but July 23rd, 25th, Waterloo, Iowa, George Tragus, Luthez Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame.
And we do have our live podcast, and we're scheduled, and we should be on the marquee and on all the passes and all that good stuff this time. So.
Yeah, it's going to be a blast. So make sure you check that out. Yeah, man. Otherwise, we'll try to bring you guys some stuff from Puerto Rico next week. Don't be bringing no fires back with you, my friend. Yeah, otherwise, hang 10. Is that what they say? Is that like still surfer talk? Hang 10, brah.
Gnarly, brah.
All right. Thanks, Tina. You have a good weekend too. Everybody else watching, thank you. Again, share it with your friends. Tell everybody. If they're wrestling fans, they're going to love it. So check it out. Again, Briscoe Big A Show. We'll see you guys later.